What's up, Bleach fans? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys episode 20 review. I am the Edge. Episode 20 of Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War arc. And did we just cover an entire volume, volume 64, with the exception of like the last scene, in one episode? Did we just do that? I think we did. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Now, I made a blunder. I made a mistake. And I'm going to tell you guys what it is right now. After watching this episode and then rereading volume 64 and realizing this is fantastic. We only have 9 now there's only 9 volumes left, and there's so many more episodes that means that there's going to be plenty of room for all that extra content and stuff that was not possible at the end of 1,000-Year Blood War arc, at the end of Bleach. There's going to be so much more room for extra scenes, for some foreshadowing, for just things that we wanted as the fan base, right? So, the fact that we covered Volume 64, which was pretty much, once again, Kenpachi versus Gremmy, they fight, right? It was all about the V. It was all about that wonderful letter V. Outside of that, I liked the episode. The episode was great. It covered everything I wanted in a Kenpachi fight. They didn't cut a single scene from the actual fight with Kenpachi. Now, as I said, I made a mistake. A blunder. I went on Reddit. After reading the volume and watching the episode, I made the mistake of seeing what other people thought of the episode. Yeah, that was my blunder. That was my mistake. Because all I'm hearing, nobody's talking. Nobody seems to be talking about how it was well paced. The fact that we covered a whole volume in one episode, but it didn't feel like they were like trying to hurry it up or anything like that. No. What got cut? All I've heard is people bitch, moaning, and complaining. Nobody's talking about how cool the episode was, how badass Kenpachi is. Nobody's even complaining about Gremmy's power, which was one of the big complaints about the fight when the manga chapters were coming out, is that Gremmy didn't use his script correctly, using his imagination in a way that would work. I have a counter argument for that. It doesn't mean that Gremmy's the be-all and end-all of the Sternritters, but there is a lot of reasons I think that people just are lacking a little bit in reading comprehension as to why his imagination wasn't able to keep up with Kenpachi. It's more of a double-edged sword type of power, but yada yada yada. We might get into that at the end of the episode review. But suffice it to say, they covered it all. All the scenes were there. It was well animated. Kenpachi Zaraki is a badass. No Zarashi. Drink. It was cool. Kenpachi cut a meteor. It was awesome. Once again, nothing was actually cut from the fight. What was cut, and the only thing people are complaining about, they're not complaining about the animation, not complaining about the pacing, not complaining about Kenpachi or Gremmy or Yachiru or any of that. What people seem to be focused on is because there wasn't a shot of Basby going, "A meteor!" Apparently the episode sucks. I don't understand. I really am failing to comprehend why that's so important. Basby, and we still got a scene with Askin. It was just cut short because they're going to introduce clearly Pepe or whatever later on. They didn't want to showcase him right here, so they cut part of the Askin scene. And we simply didn't see old Jugrum Hash Brown, as he's affectionately called, Hashwald, there saying, "Protect His Majesty." Like Yuha needs protecting from a power he granted one of his Sternritters. Really? Really? That line kind of made no sense in the get-go. And considering the fact that right now His Majesty is asleep, meaning currently Hashwald is the ruler, technically right now, like it's one of those weird things. Either way, I don't think a meteor matters at this point. It really doesn't. And wouldn't the balance help out with this? I don't know. Anyways, fact of the matter is that the scenes that were cut, a couple reaction shots by some Sternritters, has everyone up in arms over this episode. That's all I could find. All I could find in YouTube comments, in Reddit, on Discord, was people complaining about no reaction to the meteor. A couple of Sternritters going, holy shit, a meteor, and now the episode sucks. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought Volume 64 was about Gremmy versus Kenpachi. And Kenpachi now utilizing, finally giving a name to his sword, and his release of his true Shikai of Nozarashi, and cutting a meteor, and surviving in space, and just being that guy. I'm sorry, I did not understand, Bleach fans. I did not get that that's not what Volume 64 was about. That is not what this entire volume... This has nothing to do with Kenpachi. Has nothing to do with Yachiro. Has nothing to do with Gremmy. It has to do with Bazby and Askin reacting to a meteor. I don't know what the point of all these pages are, because clearly, without those couple of seconds... I mean, I don't know what Kubo was saying. I don't know what this anime was thinking, guys. Episode 20? No, hell. All of Core 2. Completely ruined, right? Yeah, 100%. No, not even going to watch the rest of this core, are we? Are we really going to give them our time of day? No, just can't see it. No. Yeah, so for anybody who didn't get that, total sarcasm, people are insane. People are nuts. There was nothing wrong with the episode. They cut scenes that do not matter. They do not matter. Bazby reacting to a meteor does not add to his character, take away from his character, or anything. Not seeing Pepe introduced to Askin for an extra 5 lines of dialogue does not make or break or change anything. And once again, the fact that Hashwalt is worried about Gremmy destroying his majesty is just sort of asinine anyways. Like, that was almost like he's putting on an act, if anything. I'm quite sure that even in his sleeping state, Yuha can't be destroyed by one of his own damn Sternritter's abilities. I don't see that happening. But maybe I'm wrong about that one, but really, that's what made this episode bad? No. The episode was good. Nozarashi was badass. It was shot for shot, Gremmy versus Kenpachi. I like the Yachiro stuff at the very beginning of the episode. Of course, it started at the end of the last episode, but fully fleshed out here and stuff. Yachiro being just so much fun. It's like, where's Kenny? Kenny always tells me to cut. You know, it's fun to cut people when you get that tingly feeling. So Kenny's not here. Maybe I'll do it. Like, okay, Yachiro, you're going a little crazy. Isane does not want revenge. She knew about it, or she was told in that letter. I'm unsure whether Isane knew that Unohana was the first Kenpachi before going to the Mugen, before going to the underground with Kenpachi to fight. Maybe it was in that letter. I'm revealing it to you now. I'm not sure. Suffice to say, I'm sort of under the impression Isane over the years found out about it, and they didn't really discuss it much, but maybe they did at length, because it seems that when Kenpachi shows up and she says her first words are, "It's Captain Unohana, she's dead, I killed her. If you want revenge, if you want to kill me, go for it," right? And what I like about this is that Isane, of course, is very upset that her captain, her mentor, is gone. She knows that this is what her captain was striving for. This is what her captain wanted. So her wish was fulfilled. Her end goal was completed. And she goes, thank goodness, that means you've got it, right? You've earned her title. You've taken over her position as the Kenpachi. You are finally and officially the true successor to the title of Kenpachi. And he's like, yep. It's a really nice scene, considering that Isane, it would be so easy for Kubo to write Isane being like, I understand why she did it, but I don't accept it, and I hate Kenpachi Zaraki for taking Unohana away. That would be cookie cutter carbon stuff that we've seen many, many times. Not that it's done badly, those 1,000 times it's been done in manga, but it's nice to actually see, you know what, that would have been easy to write, let's flip it around, and Isane, though heartbroken and upset by this, has no hatred towards Kenpachi Zaraki because of just everything that went down between her and Unohana. It's actually nice. It's a nice change there, that she's upset but accepting and actually glad that her captain got her wish fulfilled. You know, it's one of those more selfless characters. A character that, you know, doesn't really get a whole lot of screen time, is definitely not in people's top 5 favorites and stuff, but she's definitely not a bad written character. Like, that's not the reason why she's not in people's favorites, right? So that was actually a nice scene there. And of course then Kenpachi is showing off against Gremmy. The animation is great. Cutting the meteor is awesome. And just seeing Kenpachi in action is just always a treat. It's always fun. And I understand why people don't like Gremmy. I don't really care for Gremmy that much either. But he is an arrogant, sort of childlike person that you would assume, someone who can imagine things into reality, would think of themselves as the strongest Sternritter, would think of themselves as OP, would be cocky and arrogant and all those things that we get from Gremmy. The dislikable traits that we get off of Gremmy, I would argue we 100% that's what someone with those type of powers would sort of act like. They would be childish, they would be selfish, they would be self-absorbed. So Gremmy definitely fits his power, his script, 100%. Now, and as I said, the fact that the episode completely went through all the entire fight, cut out some of the reaction shots that, of course, make the entire season not worth watching. Just check Reddit for that. And I just really enjoyed the pacing and the length of the episode. I'm glad we didn't cut away very much. I'm glad we stuck with Gremmy versus Kenpachi for the whole episode. I think that was the right decision, and I really enjoyed that. Now, we get the little scene at the end where he's talking. You know, I think a couple of lines were added. I reread the volume, but I felt like it was a lot shorter. Then again, anime sometimes takes scenes a little longer or shorter depending. But after the ending part and stuff, and we see Gremmy sort of talking to Kenpachi and stuff, I felt like they paced that slowly. So as Gremmy was fading away and stuff like that, it's like, oh, you were just a brain, all this stuff. I found that to be a little more meaningful. Maybe it was the music, the tone, stuff like that. The music, the OSTs chosen, especially during the Kenpachi fight, were excellent. Some nostalgia choices right there. It was great. It was great. Absolutely great. So yeah, once again, episode 20, I Am the Edge, was perfectly fine. I'm glad that this was a volume of They Fight. There was realistically no reason for this to be much longer than a full episode. Maybe, you know, because there wasn't really a whole lot of dialogue that wasn't happening while action wasn't happening. You know, realistically, maybe an episode plus 10 minutes. You know, a little 10 minutes. Maybe you show all those scenes that everyone's up in arms about. You show a couple of those reaction shots, and then you just end it in the next episode. But I kind of like that it was condensed to this. I like the idea because now we're through an entire fight. We got to see Kenpachi be his badass self with Nozarashi, and now we're on to volume 65. All this tells me is that if there's still the rest of Core 2, there's Core 3 and 4 to cover, that means there is going to be a lot of added content. Assuming that it's 13 episodes per core, that means there is a lot still we can cover. There's still a lot that, you know, that, yeah, sure, is in the last 9 volumes, but there's going to be there's just going to be a lot of filler, but new canon filler that we've been desperately wanting, and Kubo stated that he was going to try to fix the anime. Everyone's been anticipating, will they fix the ending? And fixing the ending isn't just a quick 5-minute scene. To fix the ending of Thousand Year Blood War is going to take a couple of episodes of fixing, right? So the fact that they are condensing some stuff like this while not missing out anything important is a good thing to give them a lot more breathing room by the end. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's the end of the episode review. I suppose we could talk about Gremmy's power for a bit, but realistically, if you don't like Gremmy, I understand. I don't really like Gremmy that much either. But the fact of the matter is his imagination powers that people say, oh, he should have been easy. He was so limited, like anybody else with that power would have dominated. No, not necessarily. See, most people would be in Gremmy's situation. Everyone likes to think, because they have time to think, about how do I kill this guy. Well, here is the thing, is that what no one is taking the time for is that it's not a switch Gremmy can turn off and on, it appears like. No one's considered that. The moment a thought enters his brain, it becomes reality. He can't just turn it off. It's not a controllable power in that regard. So And that's why he once again lost. And people don't understand that either. The reason he lost is because as stray thoughts enter his brain, and halfway through the fight, he even says, am I going to lose? Is this really happening? How is he able to cut me? Am I really going to lose? Kenpachi wakes him up. Am I going to die? He nearly made his own death a reality because things happened that he didn't expect and he didn't imagine. So he was doubting certain things. He was making doubts, and those doubts enter his brain. If they become a conscious thought, boom, the V takes over and it becomes this new reality. There's the danger in the power. So, as a result, a lot of us sit here and we say, oh, well, we could come up with a way to kill Kenpachi with this ability. No problem, no problem. Well, in the position that we're in, it's easy to sit back, have a bunch of ideas, and go, no, that actually wouldn't work. No, that wouldn't work. Oh, I got it. But if you had the imagination, if you had the visionary power, that first thought that wasn't going to work, like Gremmy's methods didn't work, that's going to happen first because you imagined it. It's going to turn into reality. And then at that point, all of a sudden, it's not working. And it's like, oh shit, but that didn't work. And it's different to think about, hypothesize it in your mind. It's way different to come up with a theory that you think will work first and then have it just in front of your own eyes proven wrong. Now you're backpedaling. Now you're not in the driver's seat anymore. You're going backwards. You're stalling. And now it's like, okay, that didn't work. Okay, now you're panicking. And then you start throwing out other ideas. That's what Gremmy did. Remember the guns and the missile and nuke and all that stuff. He kept just firing the first thing that came into his mind. And as I'll just drown him and then crush him. No, that didn't work. Okay, I'll light him on fire. No, that didn't work. I'll shoot him. I'll fire missiles at him. No, that I'll double my power and launch a meteor down. That didn't. As things kept not working, he was backpedaling. He was getting afraid. He was getting scared as he kept getting cut. So, in the moment, I would argue most people, myself included, wouldn't be able to think fast enough on their feet while not being afraid, no fear, no scares, hesitation. All these things, all the negativity is going to come back. You're going to make mistakes. Why? Because you're flustered, because you're irritated, you're frightened. You don't really know what's happening. The things that should be working aren't working, and now, once again, as Asnote says, fear is everything. So I would argue that Gremmy did not really anything wrong, not anything that we wouldn't do. Realistically, half of the methods Gremmy employed should have worked. And they didn't because Kenpachi is a beast. He's the Kenpachi. He's a monster. He's that guy. Now, we sit here just casually and go, he's that guy. But if you're trying to kill that guy and he's being that guy, it's going to screw with your mind. It is going to screw with, how is he still standing here? That doubt enters your mind. And if you have the imagination powers, doubt is your ultimate weakness. Fear, doubt, things that you can't imagine happening right in front of your eyes, therein lies the double-edged sword of the power. And I think Gremmy did what most people would do against the Kenpachi. And as you said, he lost because he imagined, Kenpachi even states, you saw me as a monster in your mind. You made me a monster because your thoughts become reality. You turned me into a monster. And his own power defeated him. Kenpachi never really defeated Gremmy. Gremmy's own power defeated himself. And there's something poetic about that. Once again, a lot of people complained about this at the time. And I did too. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but now after rereading it, over the years and now watching stuff, I fully appreciate and understand. Gremmy's not as bad written. His power is much more limiting and has glaring weaknesses than we like to first think. Than we would all choose to believe. Anyways, that's my spiel on it. I really like the episode. Clearly don't go on Reddit if you guys actually like Bleach, because they will nitpick something to death. Sometimes it's even worse than the power scaling subreddits. I'm just saying. But that's it for me. Episode 20, I Am the Edge. It was a good episode. I'm glad we're through Volume 64. We can move straight on to Volume 65 next episode. This is a great pace. This is great pace because it means we're getting a lot more. So definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys back here next time for some more Bleach. Bleach content, 1,000 Year Blood War, episode 21. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Sayonara, everybody.